Hi, welcome to For the Culture. I'm your host, Deepak, and today I'm interviewing Cameron Kipp for the Culture.
How's it going? Yeah, I'm new to this stuff. Probably my first interview, but it'll be good.
It's all good, man. I literally just started this For the Culture thing like a month ago at this point. So
Nice.
It's all good. We're all new here, man.
Of course.
It's all good. But tell me, man. Actually, no. Before I get into that. So what Cameron does is that he designs logos for the businesses that are around him. So logos in a really clean sort of style, right? Like stuff that
Right.
you'd see is... you see a lot of this stuff like really popular on like Tumblr and Instagram and stuff
Right.
like that. So tell me, like, what made you want to start doing that?
It's actually funny though, because like I never planned on. It was kind of more of a mistake that I got into doing it than
Shit.
it was a plan. Like I don't know. I did it about I'd say 5 years ago, and I bought the whole Adobe suite, or my dad did. Yeah, he bought it all for me, and I was just playing around. And at the time, my friends had a YouTube channel, and they needed like some logos and some banners, so I did them up those, and they liked them. And my dad has his business, and he gave me a shot at doing some of their stuff, some of their logos, some revamping. And I was probably about 15 at the time. But yeah, so I kind of got into that, and he gave me a little paycheck for it and whatnot.
Dope.
And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So I self-taught myself everything. I just spent hours and hours on YouTube, on Behance, looking at different forms, learning hotkeys and all that stuff. And basically, yeah, so it's all self-taught, and I've been doing it for about four years now.
Right.
3 serious years of actually working under a business license and whatnot, and doing professional work and stuff.
Wow. Okay. And so you've been doing a lot of this for in Vancouver Island, right?
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of it started in Vancouver Island, so I did advertising for that area, local advertising, and Facebook ads for Vancouver Island specific.
Yeah.
So a lot of my clients are there, and they're still there, and they do. They keep asking me for more work, and so a lot of that stuff is based on Vancouver Island. And now when I've moved out here, I've done some more advertising in this area, and it's kind of grown. You know what I mean? Like lots of word of mouth is great. But yeah, so I just moved here, and it's a new market, so I'm trying to find more clients here and stuff. So
Yeah. What do you typically find? What kind of businesses usually go after the type of work that you do? Because you have a very specific sort of look.
Right.
You know.
Lots of local businesses that have local, that are really about their local stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I did one for Vancouver Island, and they were a local coffee shop, and they did lots of local stuff. Everything was made local. One of the clients right now I'm working for, they have their own farm, and they're opening a restaurant on the property, and all their produce is fresh from their farm. So it's a lot of local stuff, and their kind of motto is that it's only fresh food and stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's kind of the clients that I have, are more small businesses that are needing some branding, that have none.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's a lot of it sort of like focuses on a philosophy then of just like local.
Yeah,
stuff.
so local stuff, and it's good because I can see it firsthand. You know what I mean? I can see. Once I do the work for them, then it's up the next day, and it's cool seeing that. You know what I mean? Whereas for larger companies, it's like a lot slower process for all their stuff to be updated. But yeah, a lot of local stuff, small businesses.
Right. And so you have a lot of work still on you right now. Like you have your job that you actually do, and then you do all this stuff like after work. Like you were just literally saying to me, like you'd get off work at like 2,
Yeah.
you'd then actually start your work for designing logos and stuff, and then you'd wake up at 8, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of the schedule is busy, especially
Yeah.
now that it's summertime. Like I'm not in school anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I wake up in the morning for the business day, and then I'll usually send off all the stuff that I worked on the night before, all the files to the client, and then start work at usually 5 or 2 at Cactus Club.
Right.
Cook there and work there for usually I close, so I get off at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. And then I get home, and I get all those emails and replies back to all the client work that I did and sent off earlier that morning. Get home and then keep working and send those off, and it's just over and over and over again. So it's like a Ferris wheel, but really busy, and I'm keeping really busy, but it's good.
Yeah, it's good for
it.
stuff like that. I find like the creative type work is like really good for the psyche. It's
Right,
like it keeps
absolutely.
you sort of just like. I just find that it like sort of like grounds you a little
Yeah,
bit.
it does, 100%. Like I've noticed that, you kind of pick and choose priorities with
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? There's lots of priorities, and you gotta. That's one thing I've had to learn is picking what's more important. Like for example, if it's a Friday and I got tons of work to send off, I can either choose go out and hang out, or I can go home and send all those files off and do more work, and you know what I mean. And it's never it's a never-ending process. There's always something you can learn and adapt in your business, and
Right.
so it's just a Ferris wheel. It's 24/7. It just keeps going.
Yeah. That's dope, man. So
Yeah.
I want to get back into the style of your
Right.
work a little bit. So yeah, like I said, there's a very specific sort of style that I find. It's very clean, right? Very, which is very great.
Yeah.
People love a clean aesthetic nowadays. So where did that start off? Did you start off like that, or did it develop into something like that?
Yeah, it's more developed into something like that.
Yeah.
I started off with a lot of vintage logos, lots of old school barbershop kind of, if you will, logos.
Yeah.
Lots of icons in the logo itself, and more vintage stuff. And as I've learned from the clients and going forward that we're moving into more of a modern style. A lot of people are wanting more modern. So a lot of my work has transitioned from vintage into modern. But either way, like I still have lots of clients that like that old style, and they come to me for that old style because it's
unique,
it's
right?
unique. It is
Yeah.
really unique, and it really it can really express a business depending on what they do.
Right. Yeah. And where do you get your inspiration from for all that type of stuff?
Honestly, a lot of Instagram and lots of
Yeah.
Pinterest. Like I follow a few design pages, and a lot of it's actually in stuff that I see. You know what I mean? Like driving, and I get a lot of inspiration from that. And but most of it is from Instagram and seeing other posts and stuff like that. So.
Right. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I love that you're able to like turn it into your own little business and like do all sorts of like you're doing exactly what you want to do with the work that you have, right?
Yeah.
And you're like really making something for yourself with it.
Yeah.
Do you find that the clientele in Kelowna are a little different in terms of what their tastes are versus on the island?
Yes and no. Like Vancouver Island is really they're really proud for like their surfing and their and all that kind of stuff. Whereas Kelowna is more it's more adapted, like lakes and stuff like that. So not like it's not too much, you know what I mean? Like it's not too much, but as you might know, Vancouver Island's more a lot of older people on Vancouver Island.
Yeah.
So the businesses there are a bit different than the ones here, where younger people are running them and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like the size of business, age of the business, and who's running the business all changes according to the logo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, when it comes to differences, it's not really like it's not too different. No.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay. I mean, like it's not like they're all that too far off
Right.
from each other anyway,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
they're literally
Business is a
it's
business.
like
yeah.
neighbors almost,
Yeah.
which is crazy. So, so I wanted to also ask you, like, when it comes to the clientele that you find, right? Is there a specific sort of criteria that you look for when it comes to, okay, I'm gonna start designing a logo for these people? Do they have to follow a certain set of criteria, or is it just sort of anyone?
It's not more so much the criteria, it's more the process. Because,
Right.
so many times I can get into a job. And it's actually funny, I guess I should start this way. When I first started doing this, I would get a client, and I was probably 15 years old, and I'd get someone wanting maybe a little bit of Photoshop work done.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, no problem. I'll do the work and then send it off, and then I'll get them to pay me after. And, a lot of designers starting off, they do that and they get scammed, you know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
send the work off and they don't get paid. So, the criteria it has now developed from trial and error, you know what I mean? Like now I get into a contract, sign with the person. Now I show them the steps and whatnot and take them through how it works. But no, like I would do work for anyone. But, there's obviously steps that are in place before I would start working for someone.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because, liability with this kind of stuff is important. You know,
Right.
you want to get paid for the work that you have. So to like put in all this effort and to not have anybody pay you for it is bullshit, obviously.
Yeah, and that has happened. Like when I was first starting out, there was no process set in place. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it was kind of just like I was lost, and I would do the work and I'd send them. Sometimes, they'd send money back, and then sometimes it was like, oh, like didn't get anything. And it was like, I was only 15, right? So it was kind of like a trial and error process. Whereas now, I've learned quite a bit from the past 2 years. And now that I'm taking business at the college, I've learned quite a bit of things from that.
Yeah, of course, of course. Like that kind of stuff is incredibly important.
Yeah.
And you obviously see yourself eventually branching out into a larger business, right?
Yep.
with this?
So right now I'm just doing work
Freelance.
as a freelancer, and it's
Yeah.
sole. I'm a sole proprietorship. I'm doing work for myself, but soon coming down with like I'm getting a lot of work. I'll probably do some subcontracting and hire out some designers from the college.
Right.
Because they're coming out with a certificate or a degree, and they're wanting or a diploma, and they're wanting a job. You know what I mean? So I could hire them out and have them do some subcontracting for me when my schedule gets too busy. But that's kind of what I'm doing now. But in terms of a long-term goal, yeah, I'd like to be a design firm and actually have employees and designers and artists working. But that's quite a bit down the road. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair, and it's all about trusting the process, right?
Yeah.
Because you're still learning about the nuances of everything,
Exactly.
right? You're still in school and everything, but it's really great that you're building that foundation, right? Because word of mouth is an incredibly important tool. Friends trust their friends with their opinions, and
Absolutely.
so if you have a client who's telling their friend like, yeah, this guy just like designed this logo, it looks super good, really easy process, great. Then that's incredible marketing for you, right? And that builds a good foundation for the future when the client reaches back to you and says, "Hey, I have somebody that wants something designed by you," and to have like a business, they'll be like, "Yeah, there's some real legitimacy here."
Yeah,
And
that's like one thing. When I first started, I could never prove that to someone, right? But now, as I mentioned, the process, I have them fill out like a survey and how the process was. I get a testimonial from them, and then I'm posting it on my website. So now future clients can actually see, that they're getting good work and whatnot. Whereas in the beginning, I never had any of those tools. So it was a lot harder to find clients. But now that I've learned and adapted, then it's good.
Yeah, of course. And that's the thing, when you start out, it's so hard, right? It's like you're literally like grinding in the hardest way possible, because you don't have any knowledge, you don't have any networking, nothing. But when you start to get the ball rolling, though, people start to notice, and the snowball effect can happen really quickly. So
that's exactly it. Yeah. And that's what it was. It was kind of, I was actually spending more money on the tools and like videos and on workbooks and stuff than actually I was making money. So that that first process is really difficult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then once like you said, once the ball gets rolling, people hear about you, and it's a lot of trial and error, tons of trial and error to even get that ball rolling. But once it does, and it starts to pay off, and you have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, of course, and honestly, like, I think for you, I think you have a really good sort of like, I think you have a really great aesthetic that's like really adaptable to lots of different types of businesses. I could honestly see like a ton of people, learning the philosophy of what your design aesthetic comes from, and just sort of like following through with your firm that you have. And honestly, I see it going like really far.
Yeah, and that's what the what's good about this is, what I mean, like I can see lots of different people's tastes on things and what they like, and you can adapt and learn from. I learn from every client. Every client I learn something, and I use that to go forward. And yeah, like you said, like there's lots of different things that like of the aesthetic and stuff. You know what I mean? Like lots of clients have different tastes, and it's good. It's good to learn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course. And in terms of like what the process is like, if somebody wants to hit you up, what do you like to hear from them to make it your process as easy as possible? Like in terms of like what they want for design, or like turnaround time or whatever.
Yeah, that's a great question. Like lots of like what makes the process so easy for me is if they let me know, like if they've had a previous designer, stuff that they like to follow. If they already have a logo, they have a current logo, colors they like, logos that they like that are related to their business, lots of things like that. Colors and stuff like that. Whereas that is really helpful. But if I go into a job and they don't, give me any of that knowledge, it's a lot of trial and error, email, and it can really prolong the process, like the design process. Whereas a client that comes to me with all that information is just snap really quick and get the ball rolling.
Yeah, of course, because like having the knowledge and just knowing everything up front is like the key to success, right? Just like having all your parameters covered and everything. Yeah. So where can somebody go to see all your work?
Yeah, so I have a website, a portfolio. that's it's open and everyone can go there and look. It's www.CKGraphx.com, but graphics is spelled as GRAPHX.
Okay.
So yeah, it's CKGraphx.com, and on there there's like my portfolio, about myself, and all the good information.
Right, and they can follow you on Instagram as well,
Yeah.
see your work.
It's the same name on Instagram as well.
Right, of course.
And then I also have a Facebook page, which is the same thing.
Right.
But usually when I do work for it, it goes on all of that, right? Like my work goes on all 3 of those platforms.
Yeah, of course. So it's really easy to access for anybody, right? Lots of different demographics that get reached. Younger crowd for Instagram, older crowd for Facebook.
Right.
And anybody else can go to your website as well,
Yeah.
which is great. So, thank you so much for being on the
no worries.
podcast,
Yeah.
man. I
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it a
me.
lot. Yeah, no worries.
It's awesome.
So that was For the Culture with Cameron Kipp. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, drop us a follow. Follow Cameron. Follow myself. Follow my page For the Culture CA on Instagram and SoundCloud. And the thing is, I was just saying in my last episode, actually, if you follow us, you'll be able to hear the interview the night before everybody else, because I'm lazy. I don't want to upload everything in the morning, Monday morning. So I actually upload everything the previous night before, and then I just post it at 8 a.m. So that's a little secret for you. So just follow me on SoundCloud, okay? All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Take care.